What's going on, everybody? Happy Monday. Hope your day is going great. Thank you for tuning in. As always, as you first get in, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to this channel if you are not subscribed. We got pro days. We got a Brandon Aiyuk update, and we're going to talk Commanders draft, and we're going to finish today's stream out with a mock draft as well. This is going to be a very fun stream. Again, thank you for tuning in. As always, let's get active. So, let's start with the Brandon Aiyuk stuff. So we'll start with a Brandon Aiyuk update. So what I have learned about the Brandon Aiyuk situation is that Brandon Aiyuk is not just the bad guy here. John Lynch and the 49ers front office has absolutely been in the wrong a little bit. And they have absolutely fooled some fans into thinking that it's all Brandon Aiyuk's fault. I'm here to say it's not all Brandon Aiyuk's fault. And I've heard some updates that I've loved to hear. I absolutely love to hear Grant Cohn talk on Rio Robinson's show, talk about, how Brandon Aiyuk is not just a bad guy. And you guys know that I was opposed to Aiyuk coming here. Now I want him here because we need him at this point, just to be honest with you. So I love to hear that Aiyuk is not all in the wrong. Now, there are some things that he has done wrong, right? His actions are not totally justified here. But, he has not been the guy that has completely tore this down and completely threw all his money down the drain. The 49ers have been in the wrong too. And the 49ers have treated him like dirt, is basically what I've heard. So the state that we're at now is we don't know how petty the 49ers could be. The 49ers could ultimately wait for until September 1st to release Brandon Aiyuk. They can be as petty as possible with Brandon Aiyuk. And that's what they're doing right now. They're being petty because that's who John Lynch is. The 49ers front office, they don't like the Commanders. They don't like Adam Peters. They do not like Washington, and they didn't like the Redskins either. They know the worst kept secret in the NFL is that Brandon Aiyuk wants to sign with the Washington Commanders. That's the worst kept secret in the NFL. So, you know that the 49ers are not just going to make it easy on Aiyuk. They're going to drag this out, and they're going to be petty because that is ultimately what they do. So, the latest is on Brandon Aiyuk is he's not going to be released before the draft. He could be released, again, it could be September 1st. We really don't have a timeline at this point. But all I know is that Washington needs receivers, and we're going to need Brandon Aiyuk. We're going to need Brandon Aiyuk at this point. We got 71 in the chat. Make sure you smash that like button for me. Smash that subscribe button if you happen to not be a part of the family. Make sure you leave your comments in the comment section below. Super chats will be read. Other comments will also be read. I'll try to address those at the end of the stream after the mock draft and stuff. And we'll pull those up occasionally as well. So make sure you flood the comment section. But the latest on Brandon Aiyuk is just that he could be released anytime. I'm praying that we wake up on a random morning and Aiyuk is released randomly because the 49ers are tired of being petty, but that's not going to happen. I think if we're being realistic, Aiyuk's going to be released most likely sometime in September because the 49ers are not going to make it easy on him. Like I said, they do not like Aiyuk. And they do not like the Commanders front office, and they know the Commanders front office wants to immediately sign Aiyuk. I want Aiyuk to have the whole offseason in Washington. I do. I want him to have the whole offseason in Washington. If we're going into the draft with the way that the wide receiver room looks like right now, I'm going to be timid. I'm going to be scared. I should say scared, not timid. I'm going to be scared. I'm not going to be real confident at all about the wide receiver room. So that's going to suck. And I don't know what Adam Peters' plan is, but that's why he gets paid the big bucks. You're going to have to decide on draft night. I know they're going to draft a wide receiver, but on these draft nights, what's the status of Brandon Aiyuk? Do you think you're going to get Brandon Aiyuk? They're going to have to decide that. So, yes, they can hold him past June 1st. Yes, they can just put this up on the screen for a second. They can hold him past June 1st. So, and that's what they're going to do. They can hold him all the way up until next season. They can hold him all the way up until next season. They're bringing this on themselves and making themselves look terrible, quite frankly. They are bringing this completely on themselves. So, yes, they can hold him past June 1st. They can hold him past June 1st. 100%. So, and that's likely what they're going to do. So, honestly, at this point, with all these distractions, like I was fine. If Aiyuk's just going to sign immediately as soon as the new league year starts, okay, then give him a chance, give him a 1 year prove it deal, whatever you want to do. Because clearly Adam Peters was interested. And I can't stop that. I can't do anything about that. But right now, we have to be moving as if Aiyuk isn't going to come here, to be honest with you. We have to be moving as if we got to get wide receivers. We have to get weapons for Jaden Daniels. Now, I will say, as much as I'm worried about the wide receiver room, we do still have Okonkwo. We have Rashad White. If they're drafting Jeremiah Love, like these reports say, then that's another guy to put out there. But you got to start considering signing Juwan Jennings. You got to start considering Deebo Samuel. And I hate to say that because I don't really want to pay Juwan Jennings all that he wants, but you have to start considering these guys at this point. We can't just rely on Aiyuk. I would love to have Aiyuk already in here and just draft someone. But of course, the 49ers cannot make it as simple as that. They're not going to make it as simple as that. So that's for dang sure. Because again, they don't like Washington. They don't like Washington. So that is the latest on the Brandon Aiyuk situation. That's where we're at with the whole Aiyuk stuff. So let's get into the first talk of the draft. This is going to be the main part of tonight's show. So again, make sure you smash the like button, subscribe if you're not a part of the family. But so Ben Standig's latest 3-round mock draft for the Commanders. So he had a trade down. He had Washington trading down. They're going to send pick 7 and pick 209 to Miami for pick 11, 75, 130, and 238. Miami is going to select David Bailey in Ben Standig's mock. We're going to take Carnell Tate at 11, Kyle Lewis at 71, who's a linebacker, and then cornerback Tacario Davis at 75. So I did want to list off Ben Standig's mock draft as well. I wanted to kind of tell you the components of that mock draft, as Ben Standig is, what is he, a 3-time mock draft champion? So very respected guy there. And I could definitely see that happening. So he has Carnell Tate, trade down, take Carnell Tate. You pick up some, heavy draft capital from the Dolphins. One of the teams that I'd love to trade with is the Dolphins because they have a lot of picks. They have tons and tons of picks in this draft. So that's definitely possible. So in Todd McShay's latest mock draft, the Commanders are selecting linebacker Sonny Styles. So this is interesting. This is Todd McShay's mock draft 3.0. So he has us again selecting Sonny Styles in the latest 2 of Mel Kiper's mock drafts. He also has us selecting Sonny Styles. So 2 times Mel Kiper has us selecting Sonny Styles, and Todd McShay has us taking Sonny Styles. So you're going to want to watch that situation as well. An off-ball linebacker, a guy that performed at the combine. I'd be totally fine with Washington taking Styles, and he would, add to this elite linebacker room that would be Leo Chenal, Sonny Styles, Frankie Luvu, McGee, Madrano, Ale Cajo. So I would love this linebacker room with, Sonny Styles in there. And again, I just want you to watch Sonny Styles because, again, these mock drafts, they don't lie. They don't lie. These guys that are experts, like Sonny Styles 2 times in the latest 2 Mel Kiper mock drafts, Sonny Styles is picked by the Washington Commanders. That's something to watch. And then McShay today with obviously the other, taking of Sonny Styles. So the Commanders' reported top 30 visits so far are quarterback Ethan Kalia Kamanis. I said that the best as possible. Either way, it's a quarterback. Don't worry about it. Wide receiver Mekhi Lemon. Cornerback Mansoor Delane. And don't worry, we'll get into Mansoor Delane. We'll get into him. Cornerback Delane Everett. One of my favorite cornerbacks in the draft. I love this guy. I think he's a fantastic talent. And edge Romello Height. So let's get into the first piece of news of the day. So Mansoor Delane, LSU had their pro day. Mansoor Delane ran a blazing 4.38 40-yard dash at his pro day, which is absolutely going to raise his draft stock, and that's going to really bring him up a lot of teams' boards. Mansoor Delane runs a 4.3. So I didn't think he was that fast. I absolutely did not think he was that fast, but Mansoor Delane to the Washington Commanders. How do y'all feel about that? Again, I'm going to get to the comment section after I'm done rambling, but how do y'all feel about Mansoor Delane to the Washington Commanders? I can speak for myself, and what I'm going to say is I'm tired of getting dragged around. I'm tired of having weak cornerbacks and bad cornerback play. So when you tell me that you don't want a cornerback, or you tell me we're not taking Mansoor Delane, you don't think that Adam Peters sees our cornerbacks. I'm tired of having weak cornerbacks. I'm tired of having cornerbacks that just get bullied every single game by the Jamar Chases of the league, by the Justin Jeffersons of the league, by the CeeDee Lambs of the league. I'm tired of having weak cornerback play. So when you ask me about drafting Mansoor Delane, and especially after seeing that today, I'm going to say yes, and I'm not going to have a problem with it. Is he my favorite prospect? No, he's not. There's some other good prospects, but I'm tired of getting dragged around on the outside. I'm tired of getting bullied. I'm tired of our cornerbacks being slot and being nickel cornerbacks and having to go play out on the outside, and it's an embarrassment. It's an embarrassment. It's an embarrassment. Cornerbacks make your whole defense 10 times better. I'm tired of our cornerbacks getting dragged around. So yes, I'm selecting Mansoor Delane if he's there and if you want to. And if you're going to talk about trading back for Mansoor Delane, just take him. Just take Mansoor Delane. Other teams can trade up and they could be like, we're going to take Mansoor Delane. The Saints lost their top cornerback to the Chargers. There's teams that are cornerback needy. You're going to want to watch what you talk about when you trade back and you want Mansoor Delane. But again, I'm tired of having our cornerbacks dragged around and bullied. So yes, I want Mansoor Delane. I'd be fine with Mansoor Delane. Okay, let's talk about the next guy here. Wide receiver Makai Lemon reported top 30 visit here. He had his pro day a few days ago as well. Makai Lemon is a dog. Does he fit exactly what Washington needs at the wide receiver position? No. He does not fit exactly what Washington needs at the wide receiver position. Okay, just being honest here. But he could come in, and I feel like he's one of those guys that straight out of the box, he comes fully assembled. I believe that's what Makai Lemon is. He's coming fully assembled out of the box, and he can give you 70 receptions in his first NFL season. That's what I see Makai Lemon being. Obviously, he's fast. Obviously, he can catch the football. Obviously, he was electric in college. Very, very good player. I'm glad Washington has had him in for a top 30 visit. But I'd rather have a Carnell Tate, or I can't really say Jordan Tyson anymore with the reports that are coming out. But I'd rather have a Carnell Tate because I think he fits more of what we need here in Washington. I don't think we need more of those kind of those smaller guys like the Jalen Lanes, the slot receivers. We don't necessarily need that. We need a bigger guy on the outside that can go down, stretch the field, that can head top people. That's kind of what we need. We have over 100 people in here. Make sure y'all smash that like button. Get this stream to over 50 likes. Smash that subscribe button if you're not a part of the family. Please click that subscribe button for me on the road to 5,000 before the draft. Really appreciate every single subscriber. Now, Delane Everett. So I've talked about Delane Everett. I mocked him to Washington in my latest mock draft, which came out Sunday. I love Delane Everett. He's a 6'1" guy. I think he would bring a lot to this football team. He's speedy. You know, there's a lot of things that he does well that I just think at 71, you know, we need a cornerback. Again, if it's not Delane, it's probably going to have to be someone at 71. We need another cornerback opposite of Trey Amos. I think the Georgia Bulldog, Delane Everett, is absolutely perfect on the outside. He has good movement skills. He can, you know, he's a physical press man coverer. Very good player in Delane Everett, and I could see him coming to Washington. I definitely could see that. I definitely see that being a possibility. So, yeah, Delane Everett, solid player, and if he's there at 71, I just don't see Washington passing up. That is, if you don't take Delane in the first round, or say you trade back, you get a Keontae Scott of the draft, right? So I really like Delane Everett, and that's one of my top guys at 71. When we get to the mock drafts later, I'll kind of show you what I'm thinking. So yeah, we'll just have to wait till we get to the mock drafts to see fully, you know, kind of what I'm thinking there. But I love Delane Everett. I think he's a great player, and I think he could, you know, be really good for the Washington Commanders as well. So what about Sam Hedge at center? I love that center, and I think he could go at 71. I could see him being a Washington Commander. So I think that's a guy that could kind of be a plug and play guy for the Commanders. So yeah, I like him. Romello Height here. So edge rusher, Romello Height. They also had him in. He's 6'3", 235 to 240-pound edge rusher and linebacker. He broke out in 2025 at Texas Tech. He had 10 sacks with them. Known for an explosive first step and strong athleticism, he has recorded a 39-inch vertical jump. His height has a slender frame for a traditional end, often utilized as a stand-up pass rusher is what he is. He had a 4.6 40-yard dash, actually. So at Auburn, he began his career. USC, he played there, spent 2 seasons there, improving his pass rush skills. Georgia Tech in 2024 continued his development. And then again in Texas Tech in 2025, had a breakout senior year, recording 10 sacks and 38 total tackles, demonstrating elite quickness there. So, like I said, explosive first step, excellent agility, strong hand usage, and effective spin moves. He has good bend around the edge and high energy in pursuit. Needs to add or maintain functional mass to his 240-pound frame to avoid being viewed as strictly an odd front edge prospect. As a 25-year-old prospect, he's considered an older rookie. So I don't really see Washington selecting him, but however, he could be the pick. He could be a pick. Washington may really find interest in him. So that's Romello Height for you. Those are the Commanders' top 30 visits so far. Mansoor, Delane, and man coverage last season. I did want to go over this stat as well. 6 catches allowed on 14 targets, 0 touchdowns allowed, 28.3 passer rating allowed, 89.1 coverage grade. So how are y'all feeling about Mansoor, Delane? Let me know in the comment section below. We will be getting to that shortly. Linebacker Harold Perkins Jr. also had his pro day. I love Harold Perkins Jr. I think he's a very good prospect. I'm not sure if Washington would kind of want a linebacker the way that he plays, but he ran a 4.3 in the 40-yard dash. So Harold Perkins Jr., let's get a little bit of a breakdown here on Harold Perkins Jr. If you guys don't know who that is, of LSU linebacker, he could be going 2nd or 3rd round in the draft. That's where I envision him to go. But he ran a 4.3. That's going to rise his draft stock up high. But he's a highly athletic, versatile linebacker / edge hybrid from LSU. He's known for elite closing speed, pass rushing ability, and playmaking instincts, often drawing comparisons to elite speed-based defenders. While elite at navigating the backfield, his 2026 draft stock is impacted by a 2024 ACL injury. He's a smaller 6'1", 220-pound frame and an inconsistent run defender as well. So he does have exceptional closing speed and acceleration of the ball, making him effective as a pass rusher from the 2nd level. Capable of playing on the edge, off-ball linebacker, or a star hybrid role. His strong ability to diagnose, get into the backfield, and force turnovers with 35.5 tackles for loss, 17 sacks, and 8 forced fumbles in his career. He displays high-level athleticism, allowing him to be used in man or zone coverage. So I really like Harold Perkins. I did want to let you know he did run a 4.3. So very impressive stuff there from Harold Perkins Jr. I loved what he did, in his pro day. So I really can't say enough about him. But again, I just think it's kind of unrealistic for Washington. I do, as much as I love the prospect, I don't know if he fits exactly what Washington is looking for here. So Keionte Scott, the last prospect we're going to talk about. Then we're going to get to the mock draft here. Very excited for that. We'll play on the simulator a little bit. Then I'll get to the comment section here. But 4.2 for Keionte Scott. So I've talked about Keionte Scott, cornerback out of Miami, a lot. I have been very high on him. He showed up in the college football playoffs for Miami. I really like what he is doing right now, and he just raised his draft stock up a lot. 4.2 as a 40 for Keionte Scott. That's higher than Mansoor, or that's faster than Mansoor Delane, and that's better than Mansoor Delane. So that's going to raise his draft stock up a lot. He's 6 foot, 195 pounds. Obviously, a 2026 NFL draft prospect from Miami, formerly from Auburn, known as a versatile Agent Zero nickelback, renowned for his violent playing style, closing speed, estimated 4.25 40, as I said, elite run support, and he projects as a 3rd-round pick with high-end utility in zone schemes. Washington needs to nail their 3rd-round pick. If you don't get Mansoor Delane or Jermon McCourt or one of these cornerbacks at 7, which honestly, they're probably not going to get one of those guys, They'll have the chance to, but I don't think they're going to select them. I think Mansoor Delane's RAS score is just a little bit low, to be honest with you, for Adam Peters, if I'm being honest. But Keontae Scott, if you're going to take him at 71, that's a home run pick. If you don't get a cornerback in the first round, the cornerback position looms larger for the Commanders. It looms larger for the Commanders. We have to get a quarterback in this draft. Keontae Scott could do it. However, I don't see him being there at 71. But he's described as one of the most violent defensive backs in the country. That's what I really like about him. He's effective in the box and able to shed blocks. He's highly effective as a nickel/linebacker hybrid guy, registering 5.0 sacks and 13.0 tackles for loss in 2025. Exceptional mental processing, often described as playing with wide open throttle, which is also interesting. And again, possesses remarkable closing burst to disrupt plays. Let's get into some of his weaknesses. You guys know I always keep it real with y'all. So some of the weaknesses here for this guy, despite his aggression, he does miss tackles with a reported 17.4% miss rate, needing more consistent technique. While effective in the slot, his size can be a limitation against large tight ends or elite receivers. He will be 24 as a rookie as well, which may limit his perceived developmental upside as well. So that's another thing to watch with Keontae Scott there. Those are some of his weaknesses, but nonetheless, 4.2 at the combine, absolutely fantastic from him as well. So that was a little bit about the draft there. There will be pro days all week. So it's going to be a huge week of pro days for the Washington Commanders. I mean, they're going to be super, super busy. So we'll have to try to find this list of guys, but this is going to be, again, just a huge week of these, meetings and the Washington Commanders getting active, honestly. So today you had Ruben Bain. We didn't see much of Ruben Bain. I don't really have to talk about him. We just didn't really see much of him. We saw Mansoor Delane. Obviously, he raised his draft stock today. Tomorrow is going to be Keldrick Falk. And then Notre Dame's Jeremiah Love. Everybody's going to be on tap for Jeremiah Love's pro day. Wednesday, you're going to have the Ohio State boys going at it. Caleb Downs, Cornell Tate, Sonny Styles, and Arvell Reese. They're going to have their own separate day. And then Tuesday, you're going to see Texas Tech, David Bailey. So you're going to want to watch that on Thursday, you're going to want to watch Texas Tech's David Bailey out in action. Although we don't believe he will be there at 7. He could be there, surprisingly, and that's a great option for the Washington Commanders, a very athletic player. So that's a little bit about, David Bailey as well. And that's what you should expect this week as well. So, yeah, there is kind of the latest updates here on the draft. It's been just a crazy first day of these pro days already. So I expect Washington to get active here. We have 100 views in the chat. Make sure you guys smash that like button for me. Smash that subscribe button as well. So let's get active on the mock draft simulator here. So we're going to mock draft a little bit. And obviously, this should be fun as always. I got to get this mock draft simulator pulled up. And you guys let me know in the comment section, what you would like to see Washington take with the picks that we're going to have. So let's get here. Let's share my screen to everyone. Okay, so here we are at the mock draft simulator. Obviously, we're going to be the Washington Commanders, 7-round mock. Let's go normal speed here. And then I like the PFF board. I think that's the best to use. And then we'll enter the draft. So let me zoom this in a little bit here. So okay, so Jeremiah Love, Caleb Downs, and Arvell Reese are off the board. So let's see these options that we have here as trade back options. So 24, 39, and 70. I don't want to move past pick 15. So all these trade options I'm good on. So what is on the board here? I just talked about it. Could David Bailey be on the board? And here David Bailey is. I'm going to do a few mock drafts here. If David Bailey's sitting here, I'm not going to lie to you, I'm going to take him. But for the sake of this stream, let's go with Mansoor Delane. So just to be realistic here, Mansoor Delane runs a 4.3 today at his pro day. And you see, kind of what player he can be, how athletic he is. Let's say the Washington Commanders, go out there and they ultimately select a guy like Mansoor Delane. How are y'all feeling? Obviously, you're gonna say Bailey all day and stuff like that. You're gonna want Bailey. I get that, right? Who doesn't want Bailey? But we're going to be realistic here, and I don't know if Bailey's going to be here on draft day. So let's go with the realistic option. I think Mansoor Delane is going to be here. So let's take Mansoor Delane. Again, many mock drafts to come. So if you're mad about this pick, don't get too upset. I'm going to do a mock draft where I look in the comment section a lot. But obviously, this next focus here on the next pick in the draft is going to be, we're going to look for talent at the wide receiver position. That's what we're going to look for, talent at the wide receiver position. Make sure y'all smash that like button for me. Smash that subscribe button for me if you're not a part of the family already. Trying to hit 5K before the draft begins. So, Katie McDonald to the Seahawks here. I'm going to keep an eye out on the wide receiver room here, and we'll just kind of watch that. I have my eye on some guys already down there, but we'll just have to see what falls to us, honestly. Hopefully this is not one of those drafts where Keontae Scott falls, because that would suck. We don't want Keontae Scott to fall, because I would definitely, have to take him, but I already took Mansoor Delane, so I cannot do that. Only way I want Delane is if 2 through 6 goes Reese, Bailey, Bain, Styles, Love, Downs. Okay, I agree with that. Kevin the PRF. Again, I'm trying to be a little bit realistic here. So I don't know if David Bailey is going to be here. There's that. We're not going all the way back. So again, these are irrelevant trade offers. Malachi Fields, so 6'4". That RAS score is way too low for the Washington Commanders. So we can just, if you have Malachi Fields, which I don't think many of you do on your board, we can go ahead and rule him out. That is a RAS score of 7. That is not good enough for Adam Peters. So we can rule him out. Zachariah Branch, obviously out of Georgia, love him. He's an undersized guy, so that does scare me a little bit. But honestly, we cannot hesitate to take these shorter guys just because we have a Jalen Lane on this roster. So I wouldn't mind the pick of Zachariah Branch. Skylar Bell is here, but let's check out the rest of the board here. So defensive tackle, ooh, man, he really must have fell. So Jadarian Price, I do like Price, but we're not necessarily looking for a running back here. Grayson Halton has met with the Washington Commanders. I like Grayson Halton. That is a 9 RAS score, which is good. Defensive tackle there. So you'd be getting a very good player. I like Dennis Sutton as well. I really do like him. There's Romello Height, who Washington has also met with as well. They also met with him. And then Dalen Everett, cornerback. We already took a cornerback, so we're not going to do that. So right now, main focus has to be a wide receiver. We don't have Aiyuk on the roster. So likely on draft night, we're not going to have him on the roster. Centers. Okay. That's not bad. I feel like we can grab a decent center at 147. And I'm going to do a trade back draft here soon. So Skylar Bell, that's good. That RAS score checks out. The weight checks out. The height is good, 6 foot. So I like Skylar Bell. I'm going to take Skylar Bell. Hopefully y'all are in agreement with that. But if you are not, just wait. We're going to do a mock draft where the viewers are going to be interactive. So we're going to do a mock draft where you guys just take your pick, right? So that's going to be in a second here. And then I'll do my trade back mock after that. But we got a wow. So I can just tell you, when I'm streaming on draft night, it's going to be hard because we're going to have so many hours of just waiting. So many hours of just waiting and, waiting for this team to select someone and just wait, It literally goes from 71 to 147, and it goes from 7 to 71. So right now we have Delane and Skylar Bell. Again, try to take Delane just for the purpose of what happened today. Absolutely balled out. So there's that. So Brennan Thompson's on the board. Kevin Coleman's on the board. We should be looking for centers right now. You can look at safety, but ultimately we've filled kind of the 2 biggest needs right now. But I'm all in for the center position here. So I like Pat Coogan. I think we can get a great center though at 187. So that's what I'm looking at right now. So Katron Allen, you could go there. I like Michael Taft. I think Michael Taft is a great player as well. Julian Neal, we already have our cornerback. Oh, I like Thaddeus Dixon. Maybe next draft I'll wait to take my cornerback. Jacoby Lane, 6'4" guy. That's a big guy there. Mike Washington, running back out of Arkansas. I know some of y'all may want me to take him. Um, Harold Perkins Jr., who we just talked about as well. Caden Curry. So that's down the board a little bit, though. So right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill out the safety position. I love me some Michael Taft. He's still on the board. Surprisingly, we're going to take him right now. So there is that pick. Next up, 187. This has almost penciled in as a center. So we'll look to take a center here as well. Okay. So Trey Moore still on the board. There's Caden Curry. Again, I like Caden Curry, man. I like Caden Curry. He's off the board now. Okay, so Devin Marshall. Again, we'll look to take some of these cornerbacks here, like, you know, in the later rounds. The next mock that I have, we're good on that. So, oh man, Logan Jones goes right before us. That's gonna sting. Okay, I like this though. Texas A&M, Trey Zun, 6'6" guy. Wide receivers, we already have a wide receiver. We don't really need to look at any tight ends. So what's on the board left? So what do you guys think we should take here? Should we take a center here? Let me know in the comment section. Should we take a center here? So right now, if we're going to take a center, I'd probably, you know, look at Trey Zun. But, you know, we could double up on wide receiver. I've never minded that idea. So, yeah, I definitely don't mind that. What are we taking here at pick 187? Center. Okay. Center. I think we definitely need a center as well. We're going to take the Texas A&M center. I love that draft pick. Okay. So right now, the draft, Mansoor Delane, Skylar Bell, Michael Taft, Trey Zun. If this is the draft, I mean, you know, that is a very good draft. That is a very good way to start the draft. So I definitely like this. Started the draft. We're back up at 209. Could try to get some capital for next year. You could look at that. But let's see. So cornerbacks, I'm seeing a lot of cornerbacks. Caleb Douglas, wide receiver. Again, you could always double up. I do like TJ Guy. I mocked TJ Guy to the Washington Commanders. That was kind of just out of left field though. But I could see like an edge rusher, like a late round developmental edge rusher. We don't really have guys that are here for a while. Other than Odafe Owe, they don't really have a lot of edge rushers here. So what is exactly here though? TJ Guy's the top guy on the board. I really do like him. What linebackers? Okay, we already, yeah. So to be honest, what are we taking here? What are we taking at 223? Let me know. Are we taking an edge rusher here, or what are we going with here? Are we doubling up on corner? Are we doubling up on wide receiver? What are we taking here with this pick? Let me know in the comment section below. And I'll, you know, see what you guys have to say there. You know, let me know in the comment section. But I think my pick here would probably be one of the edge rushers. I think I could see, because again, I always tell you guys, like after the 5th round, it doesn't necessarily matter, you know, what you select, right? These are guys that are developmental guys. They're probably going to be on the practice squad anyway. So again, I like Guy. You can never have enough corners, says everyone. Yeah. Get the running back / wide receiver from Navy. So let's see, running back from Navy, wide receiver, running back. Okay, so okay, I've seen him. He has a 9.05 RAS, 6 foot. I mean, that's not bad. Honestly, we could look at the running back position. You know, that's not a terrible read. Desmond Reed there. Robert Henry, Roman Hemby. I know a lot of people like him out of Indiana. So I could see that happening, but let's go ahead. Let's see. So Andre Fuller, let's go ahead and take something we have not taken yet, and that'll be TJ Guy for us. So we're now up at 223, and then we are done this mock draft. So did we get our developmental quarterback? So honestly, you know, let's see if we can pencil in on this quarterback position here. So Taylor Green out of Arkansas. I mean, there's a lot of options for guys like Diego Pavia. He's still here, but um, so let's see. What about kickers? What about kickers here? I'm not even gonna lie to you, bro. I don't even know who the kickers are, so we're not gonna do that. Um, what's the top guy? So Andre Fuller's the top guy on the board. Let's get a developmental cornerback here, and that's gonna finish the draft. I do like Andre Fuller a lot. So final draft though, that's not bad. And I like the idea of doubling up on guys. Like I don't mind the idea of doubling up on these cornerbacks and these wide receivers because we just need that position. We genuinely need that position. Make sure y'all smash that like button for me. Subscribe if you're not a part of the family. Again, on the road to 5,000 subscribers here. So, very interesting draft to start the day off. This next draft is going to be an interactive draft. We'll just literally go with whatever you guys want. And then we're going to do a draft with trades. So, that's the final result there. Okay. That's not bad. That is not bad whatsoever. And let's just go ahead and restart this sucker. Let's just go ahead and go back. 7-round mock draft. Let's put it on fast speed here. PFF, board, commanders. All right. So this is going to be an interactive draft. I want you to let me know what you guys want to do. So we could trade back with Carolina. We could trade back with Carolina and get something good there. 19 and 51, 2027 second round pick, which is very, very good. So Jeremiah Love is on the board, though. Jeremiah Love is on the board. So I think most of you are probably going to take Jeremiah Love or are going to want to take Jeremiah Love. David Bailey is still here. So there's two guys that are probably going to be the top picks. So what are we doing here? Are we trading? So let's see what else we have. Pick 8 and pick 42, but you're also giving up pick 71. So this is a very interesting scenario. What else do we have? So we also have an interesting scenario from the Bucks. Okay, so let's look at the first trade offer and we can rule things out here. Do you guys want to trade back with Carolina? Looking at what this could be. 19 and 51. What's the play here? I don't want to go back past 15. So I don't really want to go back past 15. So I think the top two picks are this Buccaneers and then this Saints, which I really do like those. So what do you guys want to do here? And then again, look at the board right now. Jeremiah Love and David Bailey are the top of the board. I would take Bailey, but Love is my second choice. I wouldn't be mad at it. Okay. So what about these trade backs? I'd take 8 and 42 though. Yeah, I would. I like that. I like that idea. And who are the Saints trading up to get? Like, the Saints are going to leave us with David Bailey or Jeremiah Love. So, you really can't go wrong there. But again, you also have to take 71 away and out of the equation. You go from 42 to 147. So this Buccaneers trade, that's also interesting. So let's go ahead and take this Saints trade. I've never seen this trade on here. So they traded up for Mansoor Delane. All right. So that's going to leave us at 8. And that's going to, so let's take David Bailey here just for the thrill of it. We've already taken Jeremiah Love so many times here. 71 and 73. That's intriguing. What is on the board, though? What is on the board? So, Caden McDonald is still on the board? That is interesting. What is on the board here at wide receiver? Okay. All right. Jadarian Price. Defense. Cornerbacks. Colton Hood. D'Angelo Pons. AJ Halsey, I do like him. Kamari Ramsey, that'd be more of a 71 pick. We don't have pick 71. So right now, looking at the board, I don't think I would take Caleb McDonald, but I mean, like that is that's intriguing to take a guy like Caleb McDonald or Caden McDonald. I like Caden McDonald. Saints got fleeced. We're not taking Delane of those three. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. So we take our edge rusher, David Bailey. Need wide receivers. Need cornerbacks. But again, I don't see anything great here at the cornerback position. 6 foot. I mean, I like Colton Hood. Don't get me wrong. But KC Concepcion, that might have to be the pick here. Let's go with him. Let's get our wide receiver down and early. I think wide receiver is more of a need than the cornerback position, but okay. Yeah, we could have looked at a center there. You're not wrong. You're not wrong there. There's definitely some good centers there, but we're up at 147 again. It's time for a cornerback, in my opinion. And yes, none better to land to us than Julian Neal. I love Julian Neal. Look at that RAS score. I like Thaddeus Dixon too. So really good options there. Let's see. Let's get Julian Neal here. Got to fill out that cornerback position. Again, I already told you I'm tired of it. I'm tired of getting bullied at the corner position. Sorry. So now it's got to look like a center. Now it has to be one of these centers, to be honest with you. And Pat Coogan out of Indiana is here. 3'11", 6'5". That's gonna have to. Let's see what's on the board. Jamari Taylor. Yeah, we're not going to take a running back. So that's going to have to be the center there. I really like Coogan as well. So the film on him, though, is interesting. But I think he'd fit in Washington. So that's not a bad option. So we have Bailey, wide receiver, cornerback. So what are the safeties left? Lorenzo Styles. I mean, that's never. We'll probably take him at 223, to be honest with you. So let's hold out for that. Again, our guy, TJ guy, Xavier Harris. I like Xavier Harris. You can never go wrong with a defensive tackle. So let's go with Xavier Harris. I like him. And then double up on corner or edge. Yeah, we could do that. And then so defense, what about safety? So cornerback. So again, you said double up on cornerback. We could do that. Damani Jackson. You never go wrong with an Alabama guy. Wide receiver Colby Young here from Georgia. He's 6'5". Oh my gosh. So yes, Uptown Dre. Yeah, those are good centers. Let's take Damani Jackson. We're gonna double up like Steve said. Yes, I have seen Hecht to Washington, so I definitely don't mind that. But here's the final result. So we traded back David Bailey, KC Concepcion, Julian Neal, Pat Coogan, Xavier Harris, Damani Jackson. So I don't even mind that at all. We just did a trade back draft there. So let's do one more. Mock draft. I'll get to the comment section. So super chats will be read first. Super chats help the channel out a lot, and they really carry this channel, and they will be read first. Make sure you hit the like button though on this stream. Subscribe to this channel if you're not a part of the family already over here. And so let's run one more. Like I said, one more draft. And then I'll get to the comment section here, and I'll let you guys go on with your lovely Monday night. So let's see if this is going to be realistic here. So Philly, again, that's the only offer we have. I'm not going past 15. So I know that's a haul. I don't want to go past 15. This is a realistic board. This is a very, very realistic board. I can't even lie to y'all. Very, very realistic board here. I definitely like what I'm seeing here out of this board. So very, very realistic here. Let me just make sure no Commanders news has come out. So Ruben Baines Pro Day, people are talking about that. But yeah, no Commanders news. All right, perfect. So this is a very realistic board. Right now, what I think Washington would do is I think they would take Caleb Downs. That's who I think Washington's ultimately going to take in this draft. I think it's going to be Caleb Downs, which that's definitely what I think, who I think it's going to be. We have over 110 in the chat. Please smash that like button. Please smash that subscribe button. Every single subscriber matters and helps out. So it's like Calais Campbell type 6'8", big run stopper. Yeah. Yep. So let's go Caleb Downs. That's very realistic. That is very realistic here. So Caleb Downs is the pick there. Didn't have any trade back offers. So I like that to start us off. And again, just a super realistic mock draft. Oh my gosh. The guy that ran a 4.2 today, Keontae Scott, that's going to have to be the pick. That's going to have to be the pick. Keontae Scott here. Again, you saw what he did. Great movement skills. I don't want to pass up on this center, though. That's a hard pass. But if Keontae Scott would fall, I mean, that's absolutely how you have to draft. And listen, I don't know if Washington would start their draft out with two guys in the secondary, but when those guys are on the board, like those guys are hard to pass up. But now we have a glaring wide receiver need. So what is there at wide receiver? So Kevin Coleman Jr. is there. Kevin Coleman Jr., I mean, he's a shorter guy. Washington has met with him twice. I'm not in love with Kevin Coleman Jr. I'm not in love with Kevin Coleman Jr., but I don't mind him. If Washington were to select him, like that's not a bad option. We almost have to get a wide receiver here. So that's the problem with this mock draft so far is the wide receiver position. That's not great at the wide receiver position. I don't think Kevin Coleman necessarily fits what Washington exactly needs at the wide receiver position. So I'm going to leave this one up to y'all. Are we taking Kevin Coleman Jr., best wide receiver on the board right now? Are we taking him? Let's hear it. Steve. Yeah, good night, Steve. You have a good night, man. So, and hail the Commanders as always. But what are we taking here at this pick? What are we taking here? I'm always in support of a fellow Kevin. So what are we taking with this pick? You have defense here. We already got our guy. Ooh, Aiden Fisher and Harold Perkins Jr. That might have one of those guys might have to be the pick. Take Saints. So Saints. I don't know what you mean by Saints. Is that a player? Because I don't see any player there. But yeah, this might have to be Aiden Fisher. Here. I see if any comments come through before I select Fisher or Harold Jr. Okay. All right, so we're going to go ahead and take Aiden Fisher. Love that selection. I know we don't necessarily need a linebacker, but you take him when you can. And when you have a guy like that on the board, that's fantastic. So now what are we missing here? Caleb Downs, Keontae Scott, all defense so far. We're missing a wide receiver. We need a wide receiver desperately. And that's going to be Xavier Thomas. All right, as soon as I see him here, we're going to have to take Xavier Thomas. We need a center now. So the problem with starting out with Caleb Downs is that, that's not the biggest need. But he could be a top 3 draft. So a top 3 player in the draft. So let's see here. What are we thinking here? Can't wait for the collab. This will be dope. Yeah. Appreciate you, my guy. I can't wait to be on tomorrow. I'll be on Off the Bench. Make sure you go subscribe to him. I'll be there at 4:30 tomorrow on his channel, going live. But you have a good night, man. But let's see. So need a center bad. What's left? Connor Tollison, Bryce Foster out of Kansas. That's just too. We're not going to take him. Center out of Alabama, though. He's going to have to be the pick, and we're going to have to throw him in there and see what he does. And we're back up at 223 here. So, we got a wide receiver and then take a chance on Black in the last round. And that's going to finish up the mock draft. So I know these mock drafts, they can kind of get like you're just throwing players on the end, but these guys are talented, man. And you never know, like Bill last year, you never know what you can get in some of these guys. So there's our final mock of the night. Let's flip to the comment section, though. We'll flip to the comment section and ultimately we'll take a peek at what we have. Take a peek at what's in the comment section here again. So let's start from the let's see. Door Gunner. We have to move like he won't be there, and it is a bonus if he ends up there. Yeah, you're talking about Aiyuk. Yeah, we have to move. That's what I said. We have to move like he ultimately probably won't be there. That's what I said. What about getting a Stephon Diggs or even getting a Debo back in a team-friendly deal? Yeah, I mean, if Debo really wants to, I think that's the whole problem with Debo is he wants a lot of money. But Stephon Diggs, I'm out. Like the drama, like I think he could come in here and give us a lot of yards, a lot of touchdowns, but the drama, I'm out. I'm out. That simply puts me out, and that quick. Feel bad for Love if he goes to Tennessee. Their offensive line sucks. It does. It does. He definitely would love to come to Washington. You can see it. Tate falling to 11 is crazy, and Miami needs a wide receiver. I agree with that. Allegretti is not the answer at center. I want to see the comp in camp, but I don't think Coleman's the answer either. At this point, I feel like they're both depth pieces on the offensive line. Washington obviously wants Coleman to work out at center, but we don't know. How this is definitely going to go. So we don't know how this is going to go at the center position. But I can't say that I'm not the slightest bit concerned, right? I'm concerned, right, about the center position. So what would we trade for to move up from 71, you think? Move to the mid second round if we trade our third and a player or two. Payne, Luke, Mikey. That's not realistic to even start with. And you're going to use the names to throw in there. Like, no. So, yeah, you were talking about the guy that's 24 years old. That's toddler age. Not anymore. We had a free agency that every guy was under 30 years old. So, besides Dietrich Wise, but that's a re-signing. Let's see. I really like Bailey too. A center or another defensive weapon should be our priority if we don't go after a wide receiver. I agree. I think, we desperately need a center. And then, defensive weapon could be any sort of cornerback, safety. So, yeah. Why do you think AJ want to leave too many superstars? We don't need everybody. I hate using a pick on a kicker. Just bring a soccer player into camp as a developmental project. I'm with you. So last year, everybody was talking about just draft a kicker. Like, I'm good, man. I don't want to waste my pick on a kicker. I'd rather get a guy that has a shot. Imagine if we took a kicker over Bill last year. How would that work out? How would that have worked out? Because Bill ended up being our running back one most weeks last year. So, I'm just not a big fan of that philosophy. So, let's see. For kicker, teams are going to shed players, but we can also look to the draft. I don't know. Let's see. I would take Bailey, but Love is my second choice. I wouldn't be mad at it. Yeah, I saw that comment in real time. Yeah, I take Bailey too. And again, Jeremiah Love is a great player. Daniel Jeremiah's mock 3.0 has us taking Ruben Bain, by the way. I just saw that. Let's see. So, future move everyone would hate. I wouldn't mind. Trade back far enough in the first round to get a 27 first rounder for that deep draft. That is a deep draft. Class. I think most of us are not thinking that far ahead, but I like the thoughts. I like the thoughts far ahead. So, it's not bad, man. Let's see. We go 3 straight defense. San Francisco calling AP for a 7th every 5 minutes on day 3. Yes, I could see that being a possibility. In San Francisco, like we already talked about Aiyuk. Like, I mean, it's ridiculous what they're trying to do. Nobody's going to trade for Aiyuk. Nobody's going to trade for him. W stream, appreciate you. Appreciate you, my guy, Lenny. Hashtag free Aiyuk. That's what we've been saying. This Aiyuk situation, if you want to hit playback, I broke it down at the start of the stream. Just what a bad situation. The 49ers are being petty. And I just really hope they don't hold him till like I'm praying that they don't hold him until like September or sometime over the summer at our latest convenience, right? I just really hope that they come to their senses. And again, I told you, I hope that we wake up one morning, we're waking up in the morning and we're finding out Aiyuk is released. That's what I want. That's what I desperately want. And the 49ers come to their senses. They just finally release him. Let it go. Let him be released. Finally. Please. Okay. Is that too much to ask for? You draft the best player available. That's what I talked about. I've talked about this offseason a lot. I've talked about this team a lot in the draft. What this team has done in free agency has absolutely set them up for best player available at pick number 7. And I cannot be more excited for that. We're not going to leave the draft mad this year. So, we're not. We're not going to leave the draft mad this year. We're going to get a solid player, no matter who it is. It's going to be a solid player. Hopefully, it's not a Keldrick Falk. Hopefully, it's not one of those guys. But we're going to leave the draft with a good player. We're not going to be mad like past years. So, I'm very excited for that. I have to say. But yeah, we're drafting BPA. And you see that by us talking about if it's a running back, Jeremiah Love, take him. If it's Caleb Downs, take him. Like you see that, right? You see what we mean by that. So just to let you know, Ruben Bain and Akeem Mesidor, they both opted out of testing drills at today's pro day. So you're not going to see anything about Ruben Bain. You're not going to see anything about him. However, both did positional work. Bain in particular was really impressive during position drills, according to NFL scouts and attendance. So that's some interesting notes there. 49ers are just trying to screw Aiyuk. Yeah, and they, people are going to think they have a right to. They have ultimately, what the 49ers have done is just shifted the public, thoughts. They have shifted the public thoughts to just making Aiyuk the bad guy, right? They have just totally made people think Aiyuk is the bad guy, and it's just wrong. Aiyuk has not been in the wrong much at all in this situation, from what I hear and from what I know. How far do you think Tyson's medicals will have him fall? I think it's going to be a Will Johnson type of situation. So if you remember Will Johnson last year, y'all remember him. He slid to around, was it 43, I think? So I could see, a team, I could see him being taken in the first round because with him, you're just kind of betting on the upside. I could see a team that has multiple first round picks just taking him, right? So he could go in the first round, but ultimately I see him falling to around 43 in the draft. I think it's kind of like a Will Johnson situation. Keontae Scott is going to be what we thought Mikey would be. He's a dog. Yeah, he's a dog, man. He's a dog. He's a great player. And I hope Washington gets a chance to bring him in. That would be the dream start. Jeremiah Love and Keontae Scott at 71. I mean, that's the way you start a draft. But I think that's a little bit unrealistic to get him at 71. So Keldrick Falk is 21-year-old Dietrich Wise. Yeah, that's what Rio said. That's what Rio said last night. That's a perfect comparison. Like, they're going to come in, they're going to give you 5 sacks a year, and that's exactly all they're going to do, right? You always draft BPA. It's the smartest move. Yeah. And that's what we said last year. That's ultimately what you got to do in this league. That's how it is. If you're not drafting BPA, you're doing something wrong, really. Bain will make every team that pass on him regret it. I'm unsure about Bain. I'm not sure how good he's going to be in this league. The shortest arms we've seen in a little while. So I can't speak too hard on him, but I think he's going to be a guy that he's going to show up and he's going to be very effective in the league. And I think ultimately those arms, I think that he'll be a solid player in the NFL, but I don't see the ceiling being very high for him. So, which it sucks, it sucks for him, right? But I don't want Washington to select Ruben Bain at all. I do not want Ruben Bain to be the option for the Washington Commanders at this point. So definitely don't want to see that. Make sure y'all smash that like button. Let's get over 100 likes on the stream. Make sure you smash that subscribe button as well on the road to 5,000 subscribers. Every single subscriber helps and matters on this channel. Make sure you click that subscribe button. So, but very good stuff there. Just talking about the draft. How would it be if Jeremiah Love falls to Washington at 7? We hear Adam Schefter with all these things, you know, we hear him talk about all these teams and what they're going to do. Is Jeremiah Love going to fall to the Washington Commanders? Is he going to fall to the Washington Commanders? I just want Washington to get a chance at Jeremiah Love, to be honest. I just want a chance at Love. That's all I ask for. It's just a chance for Washington to take Love. There's no defensive end with better tape than Bain. Again, don't get me wrong. Bain is nice. Bain is a dog. But wouldn't you rather have David Bailey? You know, his tape is elite as well. So, you know, that's an interesting topic. Kaylavon Chason here, respect him. Yeah, I like Chason. I like that signing a lot. The Washington Commanders free agency has been, you know, very active, and they have made a lot of good signings. But I got to say, one of my favorite signings was the Chason signing. Essentially, what Chason is here to do is get himself a contract for next year. That's what he's essentially here to do. Let me pull up the Commanders signings and re-signings and free agency, an updated list of all those. We'll kind of go over those a little bit. Bain has T-Rex arms. I knew someone was going to bring that up for sure. For sure. I knew someone was going to bring that up here. But you might not be wrong, man. You might not be wrong. I'm not going to lie. So, image file, let's see. Okay. So, here is the Commanders free agency so far. So, let's start with the re-signings, get the boring stuff out of the way real quick. Tress Way, Andrew Wiley, Nick Allegretti. Like, those guys are solid players. Andrew Wiley, Nick Allegretti, we expected them to be, you know, re-signed and back here. So, and that's what they did. Trent Scott, I like Trent Scott. He's a solid depth piece on the offensive line. Dietrich Wise, they loved what he brought to the field. They loved the energy in the locker room. That's why he was re-signed. He's on the older side of things, coming off an injury. So I'm a little bit unsure about that, but it's not a horrible move to bring him back. Like, I didn't totally rule it out. Shy Tuttle, it's probably a camp body, if we're being honest. Mariota, they paid him a good bit of money. He did great last year. Mariota, I love Mariota. I love what he's still doing in this league. So, yeah, I'm fine with Mariota. I think we had to get him back in here just in case Jaden happens to be hurt at any point this year, which we hope is not the case. Drake Jackson, he did enough. He did enough for us, you know, to be able to come back. So I like Drake Jackson as well. Let's get to some of these comments here, though. I ran something earlier. If we traded back with Dallas at 20, we get the other edge from Miami. That was a stud, and we would receive 20th, second, and a third. Would that move the needle for you? Not particularly, and I probably wouldn't go ahead and make that move. Again, I'm not trying to go past 15. I'm not going to lie to you. So I really can't. I don't think we can go wrong as long as we don't go past 15. So I don't know if that would move the needle for me or not. If we got Love, then who would not make it? Well, I mean, there's guys here that a lot of them couldn't make it. Like, you could see a guy like Jerome Ford be cut. You could see a guy like Jeremy McNichols be cut. So all of those guys are ultimately on the bubble. Obviously, Rashad White, Love, and Bill are making it, though. So, by the way, to go back with that, I just thought about this. I wouldn't want to trade back with Dallas. So, can't wait until post-June 1st cuts. Yeah, there's going to be quite a bit. But again, with the Aiyuk situation, like, don't expect him to be cut right after June 1st. Don't expect that to happen because they're being very petty right now. First, J Love, Styles, Downs, Delane, Bailey. That's my round one draft board. That's the order, in my opinion. Love, settle for the rest. Yeah, I like that board. I think Love, Styles, Downs, Delane, Bailey. Yeah, that's a good board. That is a great board. I like that. Trading back with Dallas is blasphemy. Yeah, that's why, again, like Philly or Dallas, I'm kind of out on that. McNichols is out if Love is in. Yeah, he's a great blocker, but I mean, probably gets shed to the side if there's a guy like Love coming in here, right? I'm afraid the Giants are going to draft Love to appease their fan base after they blew it with Barkley. They could. I mean, again, Adam Schefter is feeding us things, basically making us think that that's not going to be the case. So I don't know. That'll be interesting to see. So let's continue here. I really want Lemon. I think he's the best wide receiver in the class. First of all, make sure you guys smash that like button for me. Every single like is appreciated. Let's get up to 100 likes on the stream. Smash that subscribe button as well if you're not subscribed. Every single subscriber matters and helps out here on this channel. Flood the comment section. As always, super chats are the best way to support this channel. Super chats definitely help out the most out of anything. But appreciate y'all for tuning in on this Monday night. I really want Lemon. Again, I think he's the best wide receiver in the class. Yeah, I like Lemon. Again, I think he can come out of the box fully assembled. Come in, get you a lot of receptions in year one. So I'm not going to fault you for saying that, man. Some people think he is, and he's very athletic. So I don't mind that at all. The Commanders fans pee their draft pants. Draft Love, move up a bit to get a falling Tyson, then get Aiyuk. Yeah, I don't know if I'd take a look at Tyson anymore. Like I don't know about that. But how are we going to move up? What capital do we have to move up? Like that's what I want to hear. If we're going to move up, what capital do we have to do that? All right, let me hear that. But anyways, Jake Moody's been re-signed. They're going to bring in comp for him. No worries there. Traylon Burks, we like that. He did some great things last year. He's here for the future. Chris Paul was re-signed on a cheap deal. He had to beg Adam Peters to come back. Love that. And then Jeremy Reeves, obviously back via extension. Jeremy McNichols has also been re-signed by the Washington Commanders. So I like that move as well. We're bringing other guys in. We're preparing for Jeremiah Love not to be there at 7. 27 picks or Payne. If you're being realistic with the Payne thing, like possibly. Get Mansoor Delane at 7. He was great in his pro day. So he's definitely strongly considered to be the pick at 7. Our draft capital consists of wishes, hopes, and dreams, none of which are going to be traded. Yeah, I agree with that. Payne would net us a 4th at best. I'd love to get a 4th at for Payne. Yesterday, a Ravens fan threw out a scenario where we got a 3rd round pick. Like, heck yes, man. If we can get a 3rd round pick for Payne, do it. That's unrealistic, though. They solid at running back already. They are. They have a good running back room. They filled it out. They've done a good job there. All right, Odafe Owe begins the regular signing. So Odafe Owe was a signing for us. 4-year, $100 million contract. I always tell people, would you rather pay Odafe Owe just a little bit more money to get him here or lose out on one of the top 2 edge rushers in the class because you don't want to pay that money that we have? So I like Odafe Owe. I think he's going to make a huge difference here. One of the only edge rushers here for the future, for the long future. Chigo Okonkwo, love this signing. Had to get a tight end. Jaden Daniels, number 1 target, hopefully, maybe. I think it's a breakout year for Okonkwo. I love this signing. Leo Chenal, great signing. My favorite free agency signing. Love Leo Chenal. Love what he can do. He's an athletic freak. Nick Cross, strong in box safety. Love Nick Cross. Love what he can do on the field. Love what he brings. He can come down and hit people. He plays with a physical presence. I love Nick Cross. I like Rachaad White. Signing Rachaad White for $2 million. That is what I'm talking about. That is a great signing. Amik Robertson was locking Jamar Chase up a few years ago. Had a down year last year. I can't lie to you. He had a down year last year. But Amik Robertson is here to play. He's a dog. Kayvon Chason, Tim Settle, Charles Omenihu, guys on the defensive line that I think are going to get active, that are going to get us sacks. Love that. De'Ami Brown, Van Jefferson, wide receivers to bring in here for depth, wide receivers that can go deep. Jerome Ford filling out the running back room. I don't mind that at all. Take that for Payne with our 1 move up for Love. They could do that, but again, I think that's a little bit unrealistic. Honestly, just imagine when we have a full arsenal and potentially more picks for next year. Not too far off, boys. Yeah, and I tell people, like, trades are going to happen next year. We're going to be restocked then. I'm spitballing from a fan perspective. My personal opinion is Downs, Bain, Styles, and get a corner in the 3rd. Okay, I like that. And I like that you're spitballing too. Like, just throwing random stuff out there, man. Why not? Love is so goofy. He jumps into C-Rod's up getting hit next. I don't get what you mean, man. I was reading on ESPN that the reason for the release of Tyler Biotish was due to his uncontrollable flatulence really bothering Jaden Daniels under center. um, that may be a valid reason. Probably didn't fit in the scheme here that David Blau wanted to run. They watched the tape. They said he's out of here. But I don't know. I don't know. Contract year for Payne equals his best year. Might not want to trade him just yet. So, again, Payne is not playing up to his $28 million. Payne is not playing up to, he's the highest paid player on the team. He doesn't live up to that right now. The production is not there. The only hope I have this year is that it's a contract year for Payne. So let's hold out hope for him. Let's see what he's got. That's what I have to say about Payne. Make sure y'all subscribe to this channel if you're not subscribed. On the road to 5,000 subscribers. Every single subscriber matters and helps out. Make sure you smash the like button on the stream as well. Let's get up to 100 likes on this stream. Leo's a beast. He is. He is. L'Jarius Sneed corner. We'll have to see. I got to learn more about Sneed, and what injuries is he coming off of, things of that nature. Commanders tweeted a mock draft taking Lemon at 7. I saw that. Not going to think too much into that. Again, he's a guy that could come in and get you 70 receptions season 1. So I would not be mad with that at all. Aiyuk, Jennings, Love would put the offense next level. Aiyuk, we'll see what he does. Don't really know what to expect there. But Jennings, once north of $20 million, apparently, they're just not going to pay him that money. He's got to bring down. He's got to bring his what he wants down. He met crowds. Autocorrect says rods. I don't know, man. Yeah, I was like, what? Letting go Rodriguez was super dumb. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that. I've not been a big fan of that. I don't know, exactly what they were trying to, if you brought Rodriguez back, why wouldn't you bring him back over C-Rod? I definitely like C-Rod better. What do you think would be a good trade partner, if any, and what could we get in from them? I like the Bucks as a trade partner. If you're talking about, draft. But there's numerous teams, you'd have to go back on the mock draft simulator and almost look at some available options as well. Contract year. Yeah, and that's how some fans feel. Did he really show up last year? No. Kinlaw is a bust too. He didn't have a great year last year, but I'm holding out hope that he's going to be better next year. Some guys just weren't put in the right position in Joey Jr.'s scheme. I think we did so good, but I still want more cornerback depth. Yeah, I think we did great as well. But again, more cornerback depth, more wide receivers. That's what I think we need. Maybe take a shot at Trayvon Diggs. He played good with Quinn in Dallas. No. Yeah, I've heard people talk about Diggs. He can't play football anymore. He can't cover. He can't cover anymore. So no, I'm good. Jags probably paid more than we're willing, with Diami. Jags paid $10 million last year for him. Diami Brown, playoff Diami's good, but last year he should not be getting paid $10 million. He was a healthy scratch for some weeks too. So yeah, I'm good. Bring back Curtis Samuel. No, I don't think that's gonna. I don't think it's gonna happen. I don't think Curtis Samuel would come back. The injuries as well. No. So, but where did we do so good with cornerback depth? No, we didn't. We don't have enough cornerbacks on this roster currently. So, yeah, cornerback is a major struggle right now, and I'm tired of getting dragged around and bullied at the cornerback position. So, hopefully, Washington comes to their senses and says, "Let's go. We got to get some cornerbacks here," and I believe that's what they're going to do. So, I definitely think that Washington knows they need cornerbacks. They're going to take a Keontae Scott. They're going to take one of these guys that, one of these guys that we like. I think Delane Everett is on board. So, yeah, I definitely like, I definitely like what Washington is going to do. I know what they're going to do, and they're going to take a cornerback in one of the first 2 rounds. And so I like what Washington's plan is. I think that's what Washington's plan is ultimately going to be, is something of that nature. It's going to be, taking a cornerback in one of the first 2 rounds. And, we're just ultimately looking for that cornerback depth and a starting cornerback on the outside opposite of Trey Amos. I love Trey Amos. I'm excited about Trey Amos, but other than Trey Amos, like, there's no one else. You think AP can trade back since we attacked free agency? Sure. Like, I absolutely wouldn't rule out trade back. I think that's definitely on board for Washington. I could definitely see us doing that. But the most realistic option is that the Commanders stick and pick. The most realistic option is that the Commanders stick and pick. And so that's what they're going to do, I think. So, yeah, I definitely see us sticking, picking. Doesn't matter who we take. It's going to be a good player. It's going to be a player that they've done a lot of research on, that we've done a lot of research on. Teams are going to cut players for 53-man roster. Hopefully a good corner is available at that time. Never put your hope into that. Like, I'll say that. Never put your hope into that. But there could always be a guy that arises. Like L'Jarius Sneed was just released. That's a good cornerback. I think Amos is going to be a solid number one, and Mikey played better out the outside last year. Yeah, I mean, this is pure hope for Mike Sammerstill. Like, he played awful last year. So it's pure hope for him at this point that we're going to have. So, yeah, I'm not sure how to feel about that, but we'll see how that ultimately works. Not a lot of confidence in Mikey. I don't think he's a bust, but I don't know. I don't know what happened last year. F trading back, BPA all the way. And that's how some people feel. Like, that's justified, right? I like all the options there. So I'm going to like all the options there at 7. So yeah, I sticking and picking. That sounds good to me. So that was the last comment. That's going to do it for me. We have 90 viewers in the chat. Make sure y'all smash that like button on the way out as you leave to do me a favor. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button as well. That will also do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button. On the road to 5,000 subscribers. If you're not a part of the family, please subscribe. Please like up the stream. I will see you guys in the next stream. That will be very soon. If there's any breaking news tonight, I'll be back on any breaking news. Either way, you're going to see me tomorrow, breaking news or not. Make sure you check out my video that I posted earlier as well. But in any event, that's going to do it for me. You guys enjoy your Monday night, and I will see you guys in the next one. As always, again, hit the like button on the way out, subscribe on the way out. Those really support me and really help me out. I'll see you guys in the next one. Hail to the Commanders as always, and